Hi everybody, it's Kathy again. I wanted to come in and do a quick video on false accusations of domestic violence. Now, this is a really huge issue. There are, in December of 2020, they estimated that about 8% of Americans reported being falsely accused of domestic violence, child abuse, sexual assault, and other intimate crimes. This is a reprehensible thing to do. 62% of the people who did this are female, which is shocking to me considering the vast majority of people who are victims of domestic violence and rape and things of this nature are female. You are undermining your own ability to be recognized and trusted should this actually happen to you. Now, a lot of times these false accusations are in direct relation to a divorce that has a child custody case attached. Sometimes it's just being ugly and vengeful and stupid, but a lot of times it has to do with fear and custody and divorce, which is all very scary things. But the damage that you are doing is just can't be come back from. You are the person who is getting the false allegations. You are harming their reputation, potentially their jobs, their financial ability, friendships, families, their mental health. I mean, you're destroying their lives over something that's not true. If you are honest and just speak the truth and be a grown up and a responsible person and work with this person, you guys can come to an amiable agreement. You don't need to lie, and certainly not about something so devastating to so many millions and millions of people. Let's talk about the people who it doesn't, not the people who are actually falsely accused, but the people who these false accusations directly affect. Domestic violence, domestic abuse of all kinds is an extremely difficult case to prove. And when you have huge numbers of false allegations, you are greatly diminishing the credibility of the people who are honestly in trouble. You are making it that much more difficult for them to get justice, for them to get help. And it's disgusting. I'm sorry. I have absolutely no sympathy for someone who is going to do a false allegation of that magnitude that's going to affect that many people, especially when there are so many other ways to go about it. Now, in the past year or two, the numbers are going down, but lawmakers are also putting in place some very stringent repercussions for doing false allegations, which is a good thing. Unfortunately, it also makes it more and more difficult for people who are actually in trouble to get the help that they need. So, I had one gentleman in particular who is in the middle of a horrible custody dispute, whose ex had remarried, and her new husband was a pedophile who sexually abused not his daughter, but her older daughter. And in an effort for him to get his child away from that situation, which, by the way, the mom stood by her husband and insisted that this did not happen, that this was not true, but then turned around and made all of these horrible false allegations against this man, the father, who was trying to save his child from living with a pedophile. It destroyed him, destroyed his reputation, destroyed his financial ability, destroyed the kids. I mean, this was a horrific, sad, terrible, terrible story to listen to and to work with him through and to go through it. And I do have his permission to share it. I'm not obviously going to share any personal details or names or places, but yeah, the repercussions were absolutely terrible, and it shouldn't be allowed. It shouldn't be done. So if you're having some kind of a problem and you need a way to sort it out, there are places that you can go. There is counseling. There are attorneys. There are law students. There are there are advocates in the court system that can help you. You do not need to file false allegations just because you're afraid. And you certainly don't need to do it because you're angry or being vindictive. That's just ugly, and God don't like ugly. So lawmakers they're really cracking down on it. So if you do false allegations and you are caught, you are going to face some very severe penalties. Again, like I said, domestic abuse is already a very difficult thing to prove. 24 people a minute are abused by an intimate partner. 24 people a minute are abused in some way, shape, or form by an intimate partner in this country. That's just this country. That's not the world. That's America. 1 in 3 women, 1 in 4 men are subject to domestic violence in some way. The numbers of children that are affected, that are victims, that are eyewitnesses, is an unbelievable number. Something like 15 million children a year. And that's just the cases that are reported. And to be honest with you, I don't even think that half of, and this is not an actual statistic that I read anywhere, it's just from my own personal knowledge of my life, of my friends' lives, of friends' lives, not even half get reported. So it's crazy. Domestic violence makes up over 15% of all violent crime in the country. Domestic violence also has a high rate of depression and suicide. So, the more informed and educated we all are, the more prepared we can be to recognize and stop domestic violence when it's happening. 1 in 10 high school students are going to be affected, if not directly, by domestic abuse. More than half of all men and women have experienced psychological, financial, physical abuse by a partner. We need education. We need an awareness. We need tools. We need to teach our young. We need to get to them. We need to teach them how to recognize it, how to stop it, how not to get trapped in it. Um, yeah, that's that's about what I've got for tonight for false allegations. Um, it's a it's a terrible thing to do. It is costing taxpayers and court systems and the Justice Department millions upon millions upon millions of dollars to investigate these cases that are unfounded, and taking away resources to investigate cases that need to be investigated because men, women, and children are in real danger, and the lawmakers are so busy taking care of the false allegations that they're not able to take care of the real allegations to the best of their ability. I'm not knocking our lawmakers. They are doing the best that they can. Our police are overwhelmed right now with all kinds of things. Domestic violence definitely still needs to be at the top of the list. I'm sorry. There so much of it. It's an epidemic. It needs to stop. It needs to be made aware of. It needs to be brought out in the open. It needs to come out of the dark. And we all, as one, need to stand up and say, no more. Stop.